Alright, we are back. And my vocal cords have been hemorrhaging blood. Alright. So yeah. Welcome back to the GhostyFilms live stream. Now with 20% less sodium. I feel like, if there was one thing that Mr. Gorbachev should do with a wall, I wonder what it would be.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Okay.
Alright, so let's see. Oops, that's not the screen I wanted. I was thinking about this this shot that I'm working on, and whether or not it's too busy, like there's too much going on. I don't know, what do you think? Does this bite from his sandwich take your attention away from him taking a cigarette out of this box of cigarettes and putting it in his mouth? Or can you look at the whole thing and just process all of it at once? I feel like my attention is being stolen by the bite. I wonder if I should maybe move some of these frames forward. I feel like sometimes animation, it's almost like a dance. Like when two people are dancing. Usually I feel like the man in a dance is just there to... He's just like the drums. He just lays down the beat. And the woman is like the lead. Like, the woman probably does all the fancy stuff, or at least, I don't know. I have very little knowledge of dancing, but that's just the way it seems to me. Like, men don't really care about dancing most of the time. It's like you want to look at the woman. And like when two characters are doing stuff on stage, they can't both be the center of attention. Like I already heard, like if you were watching a completed version of this movie, you already heard this character talk about grilled cheese. He talk about how he's excited to get one. This is like this character's time to shine. Like, you need to know about him that he is gonna steal a cigarette out of the pack from this guy's foster dad. And I feel like he's moving around too much. You need to be looking at him and not him. It's like one of those old Chuck Norris movies where like Chuck Norris would be surrounded by 8 million ninjas. And if all the ninjas jumped on him at once, he'd be dead. But the ninjas knew this. They were polite. They were like, we got to give him a fair chance. So if you like look at a Chuck Norris movie, you'll see him and the ninja that he's fighting, and they'll be beating each other up. And what are all the other ninjas doing? They're just like, they're not like fighting. They're just like forming a circle, and they're just like making these subtle movements that don't take your attention away from the two. They're just like, yeah, I'm doing something over here. But they're really not. They're just making like karate chop hands. They're not moving in. I mean, if the main character's dead, there's no story. They're just like doing little dance moves practically. So I feel like I have to take some attention away from him. I'm gonna save this really quick. Maybe maybe I should have done like a loop. How can I do this? I wonder if I can... I can't make him blurry. Let's see, where's the part where he stands the most still? Maybe if I just extend this frame to there. Does that steal his attention? Because I feel like my eyeballs are on this pack of cigarettes until he starts to turn his head. I wonder if I could space this out differently. Maybe if I delete these. When he's looking at the picture, like when he's not moving, I think I like that a bit better. Oh, I forgot to color in the sandwich. Maybe, I think I like that even more. I feel like it's a little bit evened out. I mean, you still have to be paying attention. It's almost like the things that you're paying attention to are a little bit more spaced out. Looking at the cigarettes, but now I'm looking over at Corey taking a bite while he's not, while Steven is not moving. I can look at Corey taking the bite. I feel like I'm not happy with this. What did it look like before? Maybe if I elongate this shot where he's looking at the cigarettes. What if I double it? Gives you time to focus on snatch, cigarettes, bite. What if I prolong that just a little bit? It almost seems like my eyeballs are being passed back and forth. Cigarettes, bite, pass back to cigarettes. Cigarettes, bite. Maybe a little bit, make this a little bit longer. Snatch, sandwich. Now it looks like he's staring at the cigarettes too long. Cigarettes. Bite. Cigarettes open. But do you notice that he's staring at the cigarettes for too long because you're looking at the bite? What if I delete a few frames out of this and then elongate this one? What if I do this? I don't know, I kind of like the figure 8 movement of that. So when should his thumb hit the pack? I don't like... Maybe a little bit after the bite. One of my eyes... This is probably really boring to watch. I feel like this... Maybe I'll move this over one frame. I like the movement of that. Like when he, as soon as Corey's face goes down, the cigarettes, it's almost like he's knocking the cigarettes down. Like your eyes would follow that. So maybe following that logic, as soon as the cigarettes stop, that's when his... If I move this up one, I gotta move this one up one. Where was that hand? Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out when the best time to flip the pack open is. Maybe way over here. Yeah, I like that. Because you can kind of tell what he's doing out of the corner of your eye as you're watching him take a bite. So I forgot to. Okay, let's. So I gotta make sure that this chewing is not taking away from the fact that he's pulling a cigarette out. So even though I want it to be all obnoxious, it's gotta be more subtle. Can I smooth this out a little bit more? So I moved this one back. I gotta move that one back. I feel like I ruined it. Let's hit undo a couple times. Maybe that's the best I can do with this configuration. Sorry, this has got to be the most boring footage you've ever seen in your life. Alright, let's see. Alright, I think I gotta make a decision. Maybe I'll move this a little bit forward and see if that has better movement. What if he does it in the middle of the turn? Right about here. Yeah, because then you start to look at what he's looking at. I think I like this one the best. Maybe up just a little bit more. I think I'm keeping it like that. So now the rest of the people, or I mean, for the rest of the Corey animation, he's got to be moving very subtly. So maybe maybe I won't make his body move at all, and I'll just make his head get one more chew in before he's got to get ready to catch the cigarettes. Right about here. I could probably get 2 more chews in. Maybe I'll do a loop. Alright. Why? Yeah, I like that.
Dude, let's go around back. Dude, let's go around back.
Alright, let's start doing this so I get it done. I'm gonna color in this sandwich so I don't forget. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm just going to do these 10 frames and then repeat them. So that's done. Oh. Alright. I think I'm going to have to animate everything organically. Because he's rebalancing himself from the shark chomp. Yeah, I'll just try to make it very subtle so it doesn't take away from what the other character is doing. Let me look at my hieroglyphics. So, just make some notes. I did 2. I was only going to do 2 closed mouths, so this one's going to look like that. And then this one's going to be the M. Oh, I won't do the mouth just yet. So let's see. Make his mouth just barely open for this one. I don't really need to draw these guide dots, I don't think. I'll just draw a line down the middle. Maybe for the next chew, after the chomp after this, I'll just try to keep it as minimal as possible. Drawing this shoe for the 7,000th time. Jacob Paulison is somebody I know in real life. He said I'm a good whistler in the chat. I think I can delete this chew message. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Maybe I'll make an X here, just so I know that this is the end of the first chomp, or the second chomp. Where was I? So this is, okay, maybe I should just make it got the hands of a surgeon. No, actually, I have to hit undo a lot because sometimes my hands are steady, but other times they just veer off and make sloppy mistakes. Oh, I think I forgot to put my timer on. God damn it. I'm not even going to draw those dots. They're not really that important as I thought they would be. Wait a minute. What should I talk about while I'm drawing this? I can't remember. I feel like I'm running out of things to say. Can't be interesting if I'm just tracing. Whew. Maybe I should have called this live stream the art room, because I don't know. I probably said this 8 million times already, but sometimes if I'm just in my room animating, I just feel like I'm in jail. But at least I can talk to people now that while I'm working. And I don't know if the people watching right now were watching before, but one of the reasons I made this was because I kind of wanted to have the feeling of like just sitting in art, like hanging out in the art room when people are just drawing and talking, rather than, you know, just sitting here quietly and feeling like I'm in jail. And also, I probably would have wasted a lot more time if I wasn't thinking of stuff to say. I'd probably just flip and open another window and then waste time looking at YouTube or something stupid like that. Let's see. I got that frame. I did that. I just got to do... Oh, I thought I had to do 2 more to finish this one. Actually, I have these 3. Whatevs. I feel weird that I just said whatevs. I remember another comedian was kind of making fun of me one time because, I don't know, he said something and I agreed with him, and my friend Pete is always saying samesies, and I just thought it'd be funny if I said that, and he was like, I don't think I could take you seriously ever again because you just said samesies, and he was right. Wow. Hopefully I can finish this shot tonight. Sometimes I feel like I get discouraged if I'm working on something way too long. But I've been making good progress. If I don't finish it tonight, I'll certainly finish it tomorrow. But I have to start thinking about taking my car to get repaired because my maintenance light is on. But I'm right at the exact you know, when you get your oil changed and they put the sticker on your window and then it says get your oil change at this mileage, and it's right at that mileage. So hopefully there's nothing wrong with it and I just need oil. But maybe I need to I guess that's not really going to stop me from finishing it tomorrow, but whatever. I'm just rambling because I'm not sure what to say anymore. I already went over my entire life's biography in previous episodes. Oh, I forgot the color on the rest of this stuff. Maybe I'll try to come up with a game plan tomorrow before I start recording. Like, this is what I'm going to talk about for the first hour. This is what I'm going to talk about for the next hour. So, what's the deal with shoes? Pants, let's talk about them. I thought I'd have a lot more to say. But this, I feel like, again, this shot is so, it's just a tedious shot. Like, I'm not really using new or different techniques that I can talk about. I'm just like, okay, tracing this leg again, tracing that shoe again. Maybe if I don't finish this tonight, I will just finish it off camera and then record when I start doing something new. Alright, this is done. Oops, don't want to ruin everything by doing that. That's done, that's done. I'll just in between this one for now. Make this blue. Wait a minute. Didn't I put an X here? Oh. How did this get on this layer? Alright. So let's see. This one, I can put it right in the middle, I guess. I feel like I lost track of a line somewhere in there. I'm just gonna add it here, I guess. Wait, what am I looking at right here? Okay. So this animation program that I'm using is actually really old. It's a Macromedia Flash 5. And this software isn't even made by Macromedia anymore. It's made by Adobe now. This is just like a really old version, and I prefer this version because on the timeline up here, I can just grab things and move them around, and you can't really do that in newer versions. Like I don't know. Like I also have Adobe Flash CS3, and you can't really manipulate frames and move them around as much for some reason, and it just annoys me. And I think Adobe Flash CS3 was made to cater to people who know how to write computer code a little bit more, and not so much the frame-by-frame animator. I think a lot of animators, if they are doing 2D animation, they don't frame-by-frame stuff like I'm doing. They do what is called tweened animation, where it's like there might be a drawing of a head, and they only draw the head once. They just make this image move left to right, and they'll have like an arm, and the arm will be made up of segments like this, and there'll be a hand, and they only draw this stuff once, and they move it. They make these things move to make it look like it's lifelike. But I think that's kind of an ugly, rigid style of animation that I just don't like. I don't like when it just makes everything look flat. I prefer a more Disney-like animation where it just looks organic. And just to give you an example of what tween animation is, like if you ever saw that show called Archer, that although the artwork is done very well, it's a very flat style of animation, because like all the bits and pieces of the tween, I mean, they're only done once, and those kinds of animators, I imagine they'd have a bit of a difficult time making a character run toward the camera or away from the camera, because they, you can't really do that with two-dimensional pieces that are only meant to move flatly and horizontally, or vertically, rather. I'm not sure if I explained that correctly, but and making a character move away from the camera or toward the camera is actually a difficult thing for frame-by-frame animation like me, but it's just a difficult thing to do, and I try to make it happen more often because it's like an important skill to have, in my opinion, and I feel like it sets you above other animators in a way who can't handle making a character walk into a perspective as if it's a 3D picture, and it just adds more depth, and I just find that to be more interesting. Alright. Wow, my throat is getting really dry. I feel like I taste blood. I'm gonna get another swig of water. Maybe I should drink milk while I'm animating to coat my stomach, or coat my throat with milk, so I'm not that. I don't sound like I've been gargling with glass. How much time do I have? Still 40 minutes. I'm just thinking about how I made the top of his head move because I wanted it to be squishy, like a rubbery animation character, like an animated character. I don't remember what episode I made today where I was talking about squashing and stretching, but I wanted it to be very rubbery, and I made the top of his head move. But if you actually think about how a human skull works, the top of the head does not move. The lower jaw moves. So if I was trying to make this a little bit more realistic, I wouldn't make the top move. I'd make this lower jaw come down instead of having the top. But, I'm trying to make this a little bit more playful and cartoonish. If I was drawing realistic people, then I would have to take that into consideration, but that's one of my biggest gripes about CGI in movies, is that they animate characters, and if you watch the King Kong, the version with Jack Black in it, and you look at the way they animated King Kong, it's almost like he doesn't have any weight. Like he's jumping around like he doesn't have mass, and like he doesn't have to carry all the weight of his body. Like if you look at an elephant or a hippopotamus, like large megafauna animals, they lumber. They don't jump around like that. They're slow moving. And a lot of 3D animators, they animate realistic looking characters, but they animate them like they're Bugs Bunny, and they're all squashy and stretchy. Like if you look at a Rogue One, that Star Wars movie, and you look at how they animated Grand Moff Tarkin, the leader who is based out of the Death Star, like he was moving around like he was a Disney character. And if you look at that movie and you pay attention to how much a realistic person's head moves when he's talking, or how much people move when they're just listening to another person talk, you'll notice that people don't really move around a lot when they're talking or when they're being talked to. But Grand Moff Tarkin, his gestures are like exaggerated, like he was in a Bugs Bunny cartoon almost. Like he's just overly exaggerated, and that's one of the problems I hate about a lot of CGI animators these days, is that they try to animate realistic characters, but they animate them with all this squash and stretch of a less realistic character. Like half the time they make them move so much more than they need to, and it makes it look fake. And I think if most CGI animators just took that into consideration, their animations would be a lot more passable and they would work a lot better. I think that's probably one of the... Maybe that's just a side effect of having a company like Disney who emphasizes exaggerated movements in their characters. Like in the first in an earlier stream I did today, I was talking about, the Disney Animation Studio. And that was my first animation program, and there was a manual that came along with that, and they would kind of go through all the animation techniques that Disney animators that you need to exhibit if you want to be a Disney animator. And so they would have things like squash and stretch, like if a basketball is bouncing, it hits the ground, and when it hits the ground it squashes down. And if it's bouncing this way, when it comes back up this way, it's like that. And then when it bounces as high as it can and it uses up all its kinetic energy, it becomes a circle again. And then when it comes back down and hits the ground again, it squashes again, like that. And in that Disney animation manual, they'd also do things like the silhouette test, where it's like you color in your character all in black, and if you can't tell what he's doing when he's all blacked out, then you didn't do a good job. So like if somebody is drinking a glass of water, you'd have to like be able to color it all in black and then still be able to tell what he's doing. And that was like the guideline for Disney animation. Like you'd have to be able to know, you look at this when it's all in black and just know, I know exactly what he's doing. And so Disney characters often had their arms out in an exaggerated way. To meet those guidelines. But with CGI, real people don't move that way. Real people don't move that way, and when you're trying to animate realistic looking characters, it looks weird when you use all those 2D animation techniques. Instead of like a more realistic 3D animated movement. Somebody's messaging me from a game that I sometimes play called Conan Exiles. But maybe I'll play it later on, but I don't want to play it for too long because I waste so much time and I need to go to bed at a reasonable hour. But Conan Exiles is a game where it's like a survival game where you're thrown into the desert and you gotta like eat bugs and gather sticks and make a hatchet and a pickaxe out of wood that you pick up off the ground and rocks, and then eventually you find iron and you mine the iron and you can make iron tools and iron weapons, and there are hyenas and all kinds of animals waiting to eat you, and you build a base pretty much, and other people can break down your base and steal all your stuff, and so you can go get slaves and stuff and give them weapons to defend your base. And you can also make bombs and blow up a person's base. And I play that game on Sunday nights with my friend Pete, and he actually live streams the game, and similarly to how I'm live streaming this right now. But Pete only plays on Sundays, so I play by myself in the game if it's not Sunday, and I basically consider myself a solo player most of the time, and sometimes other players come in and they form a clan of like 5 or 6 and they come mess with me, and it's like I gotta go beat them up myself. But sometimes there are other solo players and like that I'm friends with, and it's like, oh, this person beat you up, all right, let's go team up and just go beat them up. And so the person who was messaging me was beaten up by a larger clan, and I was like, oh, well, I'll help you go get him if you want. And so yeah, I was wandering around in that game and I found the base of the people who robbed her and took all of her stuff. And so I messaged her a couple of days ago and said I found where those guys live. And so she was messaging me to find out where they live so she can go get revenge. But I want to finish doing this for another 29 minutes at least before I go play that game. Maybe I'll just answer her question really quick. I don't know if you can see that. Oh well. Let's see. Alright, hopefully she doesn't message me too much while I'm doing this. Oh, well, at least I didn't really want to talk too much about computer games, because, like, this is a animation slash comedy live stream, but at least it gave me something to talk about when I was running out of things to talk about. I've always liked Conan. I like Conan. I like the short stories, and I like the original Conan the Barbarian movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 80s. I like gritty movies. I like movies with a certain amount of realism. And Conan, even though it's got magic, it's told in a believable way. It's told in a way so that when they start talking about magic and people turning into snakes, I'm there. I'm immersed. I like the creepy cult element of Conan. Like Thulsa Doom had this snake cult of Set, and I've always found cults to be creepy, and I like them in a fantasy world. Like, I like hearing about ancient mysteries. And I think that's the appeal of Conan. I mean, I like swords and sorcery, but I mean, sometimes swords and sorcery can be tiresome. Like, there's so many cliches. Like, there's so many J.R.R. Tolkien ripoffs in the world. Sorry, that was the person messaging me again. She didn't believe that the people I was talking, when I was talking about how I found the base of the people who raided her, she said she didn't believe that that was their only base because they didn't have the resources for that to be their main hideout. But I was saying that, well, their base has like the best materials, like it's got armored walls and stuff. If it wasn't their main base, they probably wouldn't have armored it and defended it so well. So I don't know. I don't really want to deal with that right now. I'm trying, because I waste too much time playing Conan Exiles as it is, and maybe I'll go play it a little bit later after I finish this, but I'm not sure. I don't want to spend all night on it, because sometimes I stay way too late, wasting time on that game, and I'll be like, oh man, it's 2 a.m. now, because I'm wasting time playing this stupid game, when I could be doing anything else that's productive. But maybe I'll just go on for like, I'll try to go on like 30 minutes and, you know, get my base in order or whatever. I don't really have anything to do in that game. I keep waiting for my friend Pete, who only plays on Sundays, to come on so we can do like quests and explore and go into dungeons and stuff. I've been waiting for him, but he only plays on Sundays, so it's like, if it's not Sunday, I don't really have anything to do other than sit there and make bombs and hope somebody messes with me so I can go attack them. Because the way I play that game, I just wait for people to attack me and then I get revenge. I don't really mess with players who are not hostile toward me. And lately, everything's been peaceful. Like there was one clan of guys who raided me, and I was by myself, and there were like 5 of them, and they were bombing my base, and I couldn't fight them off. So I was just sitting there talking trash to them and making fun of them, and I was making them really mad. I was just mocking them, and they blew a hole into my base, and I guess my base was designed well enough so that they didn't find out where my secret stash of loot was, and they pretty much blew a hole in the wall, and then they didn't find anything, and they left, and they were angry because I was making fun of them and making them all mad, and they got nothing for their troubles. They wasted a bunch of bombs blowing up my stuff and getting in, but they didn't find where my secret treasures were. And so when they were leaving, I was like, I'm going to follow them home and find out where they live. And they were so dumb that they just left. They just led me directly to their base. And so it's like, oh, okay, they live here. And somebody else on that same server was like, so you're having, you got raided by these people? Everybody's been having a problem with them. And and like this other big clan, with the leader of the big clan was asking me about them, and so it was like, do you know where they live so I can go attack them? And I was like, it just so happens that I do know exactly where they live. And they told me that they would tell me when they were going to attack so I could join in the raiding party, but they didn't tell me, and they just kind of like went and killed that clan without me. And I was a little disappointed, but at least I was the one who delivered the information that killed them. But oh well, it's just a dumb game. Alright, let's see. Other than that, everything's been peaceful. That big clan pretty much runs the server, and it's almost like they police everybody. And it's a little strange because, you know, everybody wants a chance to get in some action, and it seems like they just kill everybody who, you know, makes ripples in the water, and they don't really seem to let other people deal with their own problems. Like, part of the fun of that game is hunting down the people that mess with you and then killing them by yourself when, you know, a lot of the times I have to log in when they're not there and make my, because I can't fight 6 people by myself, so I just wait for them all to log out, and then I just blow them up and kill them, and while they're, because like when you log out in that game, your character just lies there on the floor until you log back in, so you can pretty much log in or attack them when they're not logged in, and then just kill them in their sleep, and then blow up their bed so they go all the way back to the beginning when they log back in. And then sometimes you can find out all their materials, and then you can make bombs with their materials and blow up their own base with their own bombs. And it's kind of fun, but it's very time consuming, and I waste way too much time doing it. All right, I've been talking about this way too much. I need to get in a couple more chomps. Let's see. I wonder if I can. This is 10 frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What I'm gonna do, I think, is I'm gonna copy this frame, and I'll try to loop it in a more organic way. So this is 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Maybe there is a smarter way to do this. So this is the 9th frame. Let's make another layer here. Whew, okay. It's probably too thick of a line. Even though this is an animation stream, I feel like I've been doing a lot of talking about movies, but I don't think that's really a bad thing because I'm making a movie right now. It's just a short one. I've had this beer sitting here and I didn't even open it yet. I guess that's good. I kind of want to move this down a little bit. Where was his hand? Then so maybe this one will go up a little bit. I wonder how many animators there are in Connecticut. I often think, like, maybe I should try to find some animators and talk to them. find out what they're working on and stuff, and see if I can trade secrets. I went to like a Discord channel, which is, I don't know if you're familiar with Discord, but it's basically like a website or an app or something that you can talk to people with similar interests, and most of the time it's used by gamers, and they talk to each other while they're playing a game. But I was looking to see if there was one for animation, but it was just such a pain in the butt. Like, it's just weird to it's difficult to navigate Discord for some reason. I don't know, maybe it's just because I don't know what I'm doing, but I ended up just losing interest in it because it was such a pain in the butt. It seemed like it was so difficult to find something that I found in a Google search. But once I logged into Discord, I couldn't, for the life of me, figure out how to get to the place that I, once I found a link to it and I could, log on as a guest. But I had an email and I was, I had an email login, and I already had an account, and I'd forgotten that I had it, so I wanted to log in with the account. But once I logged in with my Discord account, I couldn't figure out how to get back to that same room, and I was just like, just annoyed. Like, I hate when I'm wasting too much time. Like, I thought maybe I could log into it and see what they were talking about while I was working on something, but I just kept troubleshooting the stupid Discord thing, and I wasn't getting any work done, and that annoys me. Like, when I want to get work done, and instead I'm troubleshooting some technological issue. So I just got annoyed, and I sort of gave up on it. Alright, now what I think I'm going to do, I want to see if I can do this, make it loop. Hopefully I can loop in a way that looks natural. Let's see. Make sure I save this. I'm just going to look at it from...
Dude, let's go around back.
Sorry, excuse me. Let's see. Let's turn off this onion skin. Wait a minute. What the hell? Did I delete? Did I delete something? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Why do I have 11 frames up there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I thought I sectioned off an area specifically because it had 10 spaces. One, two, three, four. Let's look at my reference guide. So after the widest mouth frame, there should only be 2. There's 1. So far, that's correct. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have an extra frame in there. I guess it doesn't matter. Alright. So let's see. I think I'm gonna just duplicate this. And I'll use this as the shell for my loop. So basically, I'm going to make an object that repeats the same animation for however long I decide I want it to repeat. And he's just going to be standing here chewing while this guy takes a cigarette out so as not to distract the viewer's eye from the cigarettes. So I'm going to make this. I don't know if it's important to tell you exactly how I do things because I'm using such an old program that if you got into animation, you're probably not going to use this one. But maybe I'll just go over it so you can understand what I'm doing. I'm converting this to a symbol. I'm making it a graphic, and I'm going to call it Corey chewing. So basically now this is an object that I can move. I can reposition it anywhere. I can make it last 1 frame. I can make it last 100 frames. And if I stretch this out 100 frames, then it's going to last 100 frames. And I can click on this object, and now it's got its own little timeline. See, before I was using this timeline, and this is the timeline. Alright, so this is the scene. And the movie is made up of multiple scenes, and I can click on one scene and I can edit it. And this scene has a couple of different backgrounds that I'm going to be animating over. And here's an object. Let's see, where is this? Okay, so there's an object here. And this object has 2 characters in it. And so the main timeline has some frames. This frame is the background of the diner. This frame up here is the zoomed in background. And then that goes away and it goes back to this shot. So these frames are of the door moving. So when the line is in front of these dots, it just shows the position of the door. And so now I can click on an object, which is an object of these characters right here. Why can't I click these guys? Come on. Okay, so now I clicked on them. Now this is another timeline inside the object, and these are all these frames are the individual frames of the characters moving. So this is on top of that other timeline. It's a timeline within a timeline. So, okay, so going back to the other one that I was working on. So, this is the timeline within this object with these two characters. So now I've got an object inside that object, and I'm going to click on it, and now there's a new timeline inside that. And basically I'm just going to make an animation 10 frames long, and I'm going to make it last for, and this animation is just going to be him chewing, and I can stretch it 100 frames, so he chews for however amount of time that 100 frames takes. Or I can make it 200, and they'll keep chewing for however long length of time that takes. So, let's see. I'm going to move this. Why does this look weird? Huh. Something bad happened. I think I dragged. Let's see. Did I delete something again? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I did delete something. Oh no, I didn't. I just moved this one down. Why are these frames the same? God damn it. Did I, You know what? I don't know what the hell I did. Maybe I just, maybe I just accidentally duplicated a frame at some point. If these two are the same, let's get rid of this X. Why is there a duplicate of this frame? 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh great, I deleted. I'm just having a Steve Urkel moment over here, tripping over my own. Destroying my own work. Alright, I guess I'll just draw these legs again. It's an hour and 3 minutes. Alright, I guess I'll call it a night. I wonder if I should double that up, because I like the way, I like how it paused for a second. On that frame, I like the rhythm of it. Maybe I just will make it 11. Alright, I guess I'm gonna stop. It's already midnight. Well, thanks for watching. I'll try to get into the loop tomorrow sometime. Alright, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Maybe if you're around tomorrow, I'll see you then. Goodbye.